All right, so let's get started, and then we'll do a quick intro, and whoever else joins, they'll be able to kind of hop right into the middle of the presentation. So good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for the CIPS New England chapter's July special webinar on the CIPS Hayes Salary Survey Report, presented by Danielle Goodrick, also with the CIPS team based in the UK. So it's nighttime for Danielle, so really appreciate her tuning in right now for us. I'm Mandy Wong with the CIPS Americas team, and I'll be moderator this afternoon. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the Q&A feature on the bottom center of your screen if you're on your computer, and Danielle will answer questions and comment on your questions after the presentation. And at the end of today's event, there will be a quick post-webinar survey for you to complete. Our speaker today again is Danielle, and she's going to be giving a really fantastic presentation on the salary survey guide. She is kind of the leader on the CIPS front on guiding the survey report. So without any further ado, I will turn things over to Danielle.
Thank you, Mandy. Hello, everyone. I'll just share my screen and hopefully you can see my slides there. So to reintroduce myself, I'm Danielle Goodrick, the Knowledge Product Manager at CIPS, and I lead on the Salary Guide project for CIPS with our partner Hayes. I'm delighted to be here today and share this year's findings with you. So it's fair to say that the events over the past year have been momentous, and no doubt everyone in attendance today has been seeing considerable upheaval in both their professional and personal lives. Whether any of the changes are here to stay remains to be seen, but one thing the pandemic has done globally is highlighted the strategic significance of the procurement and supply chain functions and the role they play in keeping vital services moving. As the procurement function continues to evolve, organisations will not only need to re-examine its role, but how it operates and where its strategic focus needs honing. For example, where supplier relationships can be strengthened and how innovation can be driven in category management. So today I'm going to be taking you through the insights from our latest report, which we only launched yesterday, with tips on what you can do to support your career development and what employers can do to ensure they're on the front foot when it comes to hiring and retaining the best talent. So just to take you through some background to the report, this is the 7th year now that we have run the survey and released the findings. And this year we had our best response yet. We had 6,500 responses globally, and this has allowed us to produce 7 reports. We produced one for the UK, Australia and New Zealand, MENA, South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, the North America report, which I'll talk about today, and a new one for this year, which is on Europe. This is the 2nd year that we've reported on North America, and the report includes a broad range of market information, including salaries, bonuses, benefits, skills in demand, the perceptions of procurement, and this year we've got a new section on equality, diversity and inclusion. Within the resources available, there's a report. There's also an interactive storybook, which is a shorter version, which you can scroll through and see some of the highlights. This is great to be able to share with your internal colleagues, peers, and really kind of shine a light on the great work that procurement is doing and what a great profession it is to be in. So if we move on now to how procurement is viewed, it's been really interesting to see how the pandemic has influenced the way procurement is viewed within organisations over the last year, from sourcing supplies such as mass and medical supplies to ensuring that supermarkets remain well stocked during periods of panic buying. The procurement function has arguably been more visible to the public than ever before. The perceptions of procurement and supply management have remained consistently positive. So if we work from the bottom up on the stats on my slide in front of me, with 69% of respondents believe that procurement is valued in their organisation, and that's quite consistent with other years. But 71% believe that there's been a positive change, and this is really interesting because this is 10% higher than the previous year, showing that significant shift of the perception of procurement in the organisation. But more encouragingly, there's also increasing recognition from senior audiences, with more directors and heads of other departments understanding what procurement specialists can offer. increasing from 55% to 72%, which is the stat at the top of the slide. And this really suggests and highlights to us that the pandemic has emphasised the strategic benefits of a strong procurement function and increased its visibility at a higher level, which is what we've been asking for years. So this is really encouraging. And what's more encouraging is we've seen this trend globally. So not only in North America, we've seen the exact same trend in all the other reports we've done this year, where the percentage of senior leaders understanding the value of procurement has significantly increased over the last year. I'm now going to talk through some challenges. So, as is the case for many professions, we've had to change and adapt to new circumstances and ways of working, which offers both challenges and opportunities to bring positive change. The challenges for the next 12 months are on screen, which were cited from the survey, and the top 3 challenges were similar globally, with just slight variations in terms of which was the top one. So I'll just go through those in a little bit more detail. So managing risk in the supply chain continues to prove challenging for procurement in North America, and this was cited as the top challenge at 50%. This is the same for Australia and New Zealand and also Europe, so some commonality there. Recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic at 45% was the top for the UK and South Africa also. So that shows the consistency there in terms of the recovery and where people's focus is. And thirdly, budget restraints at 43% in North America. And this one was actually top for MENA and Sub-Saharan Africa in their reports. So there are commonalities in terms of the risks, and I think the pandemic's brought about more of a level playing field globally in terms of the challenges and opportunities for procurement. So before I go on to the next section on skills in demand, I'd just like to run a quick poll. So in a moment, you will see a question pop up on your screen, and this says, which of the following do you think is the top skill in demand for procurement professionals in 2021? And if you can just select one of the answers, that would be great, and then I'll end the poll and share the results. It'd be good to see this before I actually share the results of what we collated in the survey and see whether there's some consistency there. So I'll just give you a moment to respond. Got 3/4 of people responded. I'll just wait a couple of moments longer to see if we get any more responses. Okay, I'll end the poll and share the results. So as you can see, hopefully you'll be able to see that on your screen, that supplier relationship management has come out as top skill in demand for professionals for this year at 45%. So that's significantly higher than any of the other stats on there. We've got sourcing at 9%, tendering 9%, influencing 9%, communication 9%, negotiation 9%, and change management 9%. Interesting. Okay, so I'll stop sharing those results and I'll move on to what the skills in demand actually were. So whilst technical acumen is and will continue to be crucial, soft skills have proved vital in managing unpredictable supply chains. As demands on procurement professionals have continued to evolve, so have the associated skills needed to succeed in a procurement role. So the top 3 skills in demand for North America this year are 60% negotiation, 49% communication, and 43% supplier relationship management. So you're right in terms of picking supplier relationship management, it features in the top 3. As with last year, soft skills continue to dominate the top 5 skills in demand across all regions that we report, and supplier relationship management is particularly crucial. These 3 skills for North America actually feature in all of the top 5 skills in demand across every region we report, with some more prominent than others. So, for example, this list is actually flipped for the UK. So supplier relationship management first, communication second, and negotiation third, just to give you an example. But supplier relationship management is coming out strongly across the globe. Now we operate in a more virtual environment as well. Communication skills have become more important to build relationships with suppliers, stakeholders, and to negotiate effectively. Communication is written, verbal, and we obviously need to consider body language as well. And so it's really important to focus on these skills and the tone in which we communicate. Tonality is really important, and I think especially when we're all sitting at home writing emails and trying to communicate and engage stakeholders and suppliers, and how things can be taken in a written format versus a face-to-face format. It's quite different, so these skills really need to be fine-tuned. So we've got lots of resources linked through from the salary guide to help you with these. So if I now move on to salaries, this year the average salary for procurement in North America is $96,361. We've seen an average salary increase across the board of 4.6%. This is really positive, and I think it's quite consistent with some of the other regions that we report. So in the UK, it's 5%, in Australia and New Zealand, 5.5%, in one of the other regions, I think it's 7%. So it's quite fairly consistent, but interestingly, the average bonus here at 12.9% is the second highest of the regions we report behind Europe. And it's significantly higher actually compared to our other regions, which are generally around 8%. So that's fair to say that perhaps the average salary increase isn't as high, perhaps, but the average bonus and the way professionals are bonus in North America is slightly different and is higher. So professionals are being remunerated for their hard work. And among those eligible, 76% received a bonus in the last year despite COVID-19. So that's a really positive on the back of the pandemic and the way businesses have been impacted, and the fact that bonuses still have been paid to procurement, because it isn't the case across all the professions. If we now look at benefits, the last 12 months have really opened our eyes to the new possibilities for work-life balance, including flexible working and the ability to work from home, and all feature prominently as priorities for procurement professionals this year globally. And this has really shaped people's expectations of future roles and the way they want to work. Many parents are having to fit around childcare. Flexible working hours became more important over the last year. And this has highlighted a real need for greater flexibility within the workplace. And employers are really having to look at this and how they make themselves fit for the future and make sure that they're an attractive workplace. They need to be mindful of this as well in terms of putting out job adverts to attract and retain talent. So if you do offer flexible working and have flexible working packages, and what that looks like, whether you allow people to work remotely full-time or there's a hybrid, or whether you allow people to work at different times of the day, flexible around their lives, or whether they've got sporting commitments or families, or they care for people, you really should highlight this early on in the recruitment process, because this could be a real win, but also could open up a pool of talent that you weren't maybe accessing before. So on the slide, you can see working from home is top, flexible working second most benefit, and private medical insurance, which is the next financial benefit after salary. So what challenges are employers facing? Well, 64% struggle to find talent, which was what we found from the results this year. And this is actually the highest across all regions that we report. Other regions are around between 30 to 40%. So it's significantly higher in terms of why professionals in North America are really struggling to find that talent. But interestingly, only 32% actually request MSIPs when recruiting. So therefore, there's a disparity there in terms of they're struggling for talent, but they're not asking for professional qualifications. And then skill shortages really remain key here. So if you look at the lack of technical skills and evidence of formal procurement training, which comes out top in those surveys at 67%, this is almost double the two that follow this one in the list there. So budget restraints come in second at 33% and lack of sector skills and experience at 33%. Providing a competitive salary also remains significant to recruiting successfully, and 22% of employers cited salary expectations as still a hiring challenge. But as you can see, this is a huge disparity behind the lack of technical skills and formal training. So it's clear that the challenges of the past year have ushered in the requirement for new skills and mindsets, and those who are willing to adapt and change workloads are highly sought after. And this is reflected in the demand for professionals with professional qualifications such as MSIPS, because these individuals show their commitment to the profession and investment in their careers. And it's likely that the combination of robust technical skills and a can-do attitude will make these individuals particularly attractive to employers. So if you're looking for talent, think about the training that can be offered through CIPS to address technical skill shortages in your team. And if you're an individual looking to progress your career, then look into MSIPS to ensure that you're positioning yourself for the next step. I haven't included the MSIPS differential in salary on this slide because actually we had too few responses to report that for North America. But I thought I'd share some of the responses globally because it shows the remuneration for professional qualifications such as MSIPS and the differential in salary. So in the UK, the difference between MSIPS and non-MSIPS professionals at managerial level is 24%, which is significant. In Australia and New Zealand, it's 20%. And across other regions, it's around between 20 and 25%. So it's really significant in terms of once you do qualify and you do have that under your belt, then the opportunities for you to grow and develop and be rewarded are significant. So while salary remains the most important factor for driving employee movement, and we've seen that consistently year on year throughout the 7 years that we've reported, and the same for North America last year for the first year we reported, procurement professionals looking for a new role are also thinking about how it will contribute to their long-term career development. Career progression opportunities and training and development rank highly as important factors when considering a new job. And you can see career progression there, secondly at 69%. And this indicates that there's a strong and established training programme is instrumental in attracting and retaining the best talent. As the economy recovers and the new normality resumes, procurement professionals will be keen to ensure that their career plans are back on track. So proactive discussions from procurement leaders about supporting their team's career ambitions are likely to go a long way and should be a focus. My final slide, and last but not least, this is the new section that we've included in the report this year on equality, diversity and inclusion. And this is to highlight its significant importance to CIPS and the profession. ED&I is important so people feel involved and empowered. Everyone has equal opportunity to be heard, feel valued, respected, and have access to be able to fulfill their potential. Access there is a really important word, and there's no point having diversity without inclusion. So inclusion, it should be the focus. Not just on metrics, it's not a box ticking exercise, but purely to create the right workplace culture to attract the right talent and drive the organisation's goals. So one of the many things that the pandemic and shift to greater remote working has highlighted for procurement is employees' varied needs and requirements. To operate effectively, organisations need to ensure that their workforce truly represents the communities they operate in and serve. CIPS have held a number of workshops that I've led globally over the last few months at all different levels across our members to ask them the same questions. What's important to you? What are your organisations doing? How are you going about it? Where are you on your journey? Because we recognise everybody's in a different place. But one of the things that came out really strong was that their organisations were focusing on making sure that their employees represented the communities they operate in and serve. And that's so that the best judgments and decisions can be made, and that there's diversity of thinking in terms of driving the organisation forward. Interestingly, only 65% surveyed in North America stated that their employer was committed to developing a diverse and inclusive talent pool, which was really surprising. And this was actually the second lowest across all the regions we report. But on the flip side, you'll see on my slide here that 90% agree that a diverse and inclusive workplace culture ensures a more attractive place to work for prospective candidates and enables access to a wider talent pool. So there's a disparity there between those who are committed and those who believe their organisation should be and agree that this opens up opportunities. And furthermore, 83% agree that diversity ensures a more open and trusting workplace and helps to improve staff retention. So clearly there's a disparity here and more work to be done. One thing for sure is that individuals are considering the type of organisation they work for, their policies and how inclusive they are. So if this is not in your organisation's strategic agenda, it should be. Before we move on to questions and before I close, I've added on here the link to the CIPS website, which is www.cips.org/salary guide. This will take you to the landing page, and then across the landing page, there is all the country icons on the page. Select the North America icon, and this will take you directly to the page to view the resources. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a full report which you can download, which has all the data. We also have a storybook which has the high-level highlights, and then we also have an infographic on the page as well with some key stats. So please do go along and look at it, download the report, digest it, and use it. That's what we've created it for, so that it can be used to help with your continued professional development, with your career plans, and also to build and attract and develop talent within your team. Before I close, I just wanted to say how the last year has impacted the profession, and how, for me, as a profession to be in, it's been great to see so many unsung heroes and be really proud of the profession that we're in. I hope this spirit of striving to tackle challenges head on and building resilience continues, where continued professional development remains at the forefront of employers and individuals' minds. Please use the report, as I said, and the resources available to become more self-aware of the skills needed to tackle the next step, to take action and to drive positive change for the future. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Danielle. We do have a couple of questions that came in. So one of the questions is, Danielle, how did we get the size of the bonus in the percentage of base salary?
Sorry, can you repeat that, Mandy? I didn't catch that.
Sure. Do you have the size of the bonus in percentage of base salary?
Do I have the... So we took it as an overall average of everybody who did receive a bonus and what they received, and that's what came out as the 12.7%.
Okay.
So I don't have the base salary because it's based on the average of those eligible. I hope that answers that question.
And then we also got another question. Do you have a sense from the data that flex time and remote work will be touted as benefits by companies hiring new workers as we move out of the pandemic?
I think obviously things have changed. There's organisations who would like to go back to the way things were before, but I think the majority of organisations are looking at things completely differently now. I think people are scaling back the offices that they have. There's some employers over here, for example, have said their workforce will work remotely ongoing, and that's it. So things are changing. Whether it will become a benefit, it might be expected, and I think more and more people are expecting it now. I think before, in previous years, we've always seen working from home as one of the things most in demand, and there was always a disparity between those that received it and those that wanted it, whereas now everyone's been thrust into the same situation, and everybody's pretty much worked from home for such a long time now it's very difficult to go back and take that away. So I think it will definitely continue. But whether it's a benefit or it is just that's the way things are, time will tell.
We also got a really great question. What do you think the average salary is for an entry level just out of college graduate in the procurement field?
So we do actually have in the report a breakdown by level. So we break it down by CIPS global standard level, and you'll be able to get that detail in the report. I've actually only shared the average across all levels, but we have it from advanced professional, managerial, operational and tactical. And a graduate level will be at tactical level. So you'll be able to get that in the report. I don't have it right in front of me at the moment, but we do have it broken down by level. So you'd get a sense of where you are and what salaries you could go to as you kind of progress your career as well.
And then in the similar vein, relating to recent college grads, would you recommend a student right out of college to get their certifications right away?
I think everybody who's kind of come into the profession is interested in the profession. I think building that credibility with technical skills is really important. So I think if you're a college graduate or have a university degree, and you come in, you have a level of understanding, but I think doing professional qualifications such as CIPS or accreditation, then that will give you that deeper level of understanding. And that's what we're seeing with the value of CIPS and why there's a salary disparity, because that denotes some credibility within the organisation, and people know the level of training that you've gone through. So I would encourage everybody to start, if you know procurement is a profession you want to be in, I would definitely start your journey early on in your career, and you will see the benefits throughout your career progression.
Great. And then I think we will have time for just one last question. On the one hand, the skills in demand are soft skills, but the obstacles to hiring are reported as a lack of technical skills at 67%. This seems to be a discrepancy. What might explain it?
So I think what we've seen previously is soft skills are obviously in demand. But soft skills, what we've talked about in previous years is you can recruit based on soft skills sometimes. So you can potentially look outside of procurement into other disciplines and recruit people based on soft skills and then teach them the technical skills. And we've seen a trend in that over recent years, because you can put people through their training to learn their technical skill through procurement and through certification, through CIPS. So we've seen a trend in that as well, but I also think that there's some employers expecting a certain level of industry knowledge and expertise, and expecting someone from that specific sector maybe, or that specific industry. And what we're seeing now is transferability between sectors and those kind of transferable skills and being able to adapt, and that brings a diversity of thought as well. So yes, there is I guess a disparity from what you're saying, but no, both go hand in hand. I hope that answers that question.
So that looks like that's all the time we have for questions today. If any of our attendees have any additional questions regarding today's presentation, you can feel free to send them to usainfo@cips.org, and those will be passed along to Danielle, and we'll get an answer back to you. You can also find the CIPS Salary Survey Guide on our CIPS website. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Danielle, so much for setting aside time, nighttime for you, evening for us here in the States. Just a few housekeeping items before everyone departs today. Next Wednesday, July 14th, from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have our monthly CIPS Americas networking meeting. On Thursday, July 15th, so next Thursday, we have our Spend Friends episode with our CIPS Group CEO, Malcolm Harrison. We'll also be touching on the CIPS Salary Survey a little bit there, but it'll be a little bit more focused with curated questions by the host of the podcast. And that one is from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then the following week on Tuesday, July 20th, CIPS New England chapter will have a second monthly webinar from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time on the topic of reshoring with Harry Mosier. Registration information for all of these meetings and events will be sent in a follow-up email you'll receive from Zoom in the next 48 hours. And any additional information can be found on the CIPS website, the chapter's website, and on the CIPS America's LinkedIn page. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in today. We hope to see you again soon, and thanks again, Danielle.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.